Okay guys, so welcome back. In today's video I'll show you how to now handle the creation of the clients. So the clients that we'll be creating here will help us to create certain dependencies that will be injected, and those dependencies is what will now important to your application. So in today's video, remember I talked in video 1, I talked about the base URL, the directory underscore dar, the base directory, and then the reason now I said why we don't need it was because the visa package needs to resolve depending on the developer's project under which it has been installed. So that's why we don't need it. We want this package to be able to resolve the env path on its own. The Pydantic should use by default the settings use the current working directory to get to the path of this .env file. So we don't want to mix by creating the base URL. As creating the base URL will now create a directory tree inside the package, which in most cases won't be right. Okay. Yes. So, and also other thing, by initializing this thing, this setting will run once installed before an application starts. So what to avoid this, we'll again update this to say get settings steps dependencies, and then now I'll return this. Okay. So I'll just say return. I'll return that. Okay. So I will do that. Yes. Now once we have this, now we can proceed to creating our client. So I'll come here and then I'll create a package folder, and then I'll make it a package by initializing like that. So in this client, I want to create a factory client, so I'll do factory.py, yeah, and then from here I'll import httpx, not that, httpx, not that, and then also from FastAPI with exceptions, not handlers, I need to import http exception like that. So I'll call my my factory auth service factory client. It will be a base client, and then I'll create init on it, and then this one will accept two variables, which is the base URL, which is of type string, and then the token URL, yeah, token URL, which is also type string. I mentioned this one. These ones are the variable needed in the .env file. Okay. So once we have this, we initialize them. Base underscore URL is equals to base URL, then self dot token URL is equals to token underscore URL. Like that. Now we'll create a client. So create client. So the reason we are creating this is just to return for us the httpx. Yeah. So I'll just say http.async client. So this is not a must. Yeah. I just love it like this so that I can also inject the base URL, so I don't have to do the entire path. So I can just do post token URL get blah blah in those cases. So I'll do https.async client. This async client will pass in the self dot base. So like that. So once I have this, now I'll be able to handle anything else using just dot client. Now I said when starting the series, I said this path needed to be a post. Okay. Yeah. So async define post. And that one doesn't mean like, because now I'm saying this is a post, that's why like this. No, this is just naming. Yeah, so you can name it whatever you want. In my case, I just choosing to name it like that. So it will need data which will be object empty dictionary, and also headers which will be object of empty dictionary, and then we expect it to return httpx dot response. Okay, response like that. So we'll do async and say with self dot create client as alias client, and then I'll say try. Now this error, we're just handling errors. So we want to try by sending saying response is equals to await then client dot post. Okay, so and then say self dot token URL like that. JSON will be the data, and then the headers will be the headers like that. Okay. Yes. So we are passing response and then post here. So the reason like why we say the method in this path need to be a post is because of this, not because of this. Yeah. So it's because of this. So we are doing a post request on this endpoint. We are passing data which is of empty dictionary, and also we are passing in the headers. Okay. So if you see in this case, basically we don't even need the data. Yeah. So we can just actually remove the data and then just pass in here an empty dictionary just like that. The reason we are passing an empty dictionary in case of your backend expect a method, in most cases you can't pass an empty and null body. Yeah. In a post you are supposed to pass something, at least a dictionary, an empty dictionary. Okay. So that's why we are passing in that, because there's nothing we modify on the main client. We just pass in an empty dictionary like that. Then in this response now we want to raise, in case of any issue, we want to do response to trace for status, and then we return that response. Yeah. So the reason now we'll be handling this is HTTP. We'll do HTTP for status like that. The response. So I'll capture first status code, which will be e.response status code. That status code. Yeah. Then I'll do another try. Yeah. So the reason we are doing this is because this, if we just raise it like this, it will be still okay. We'll be able to return the error, but it will give us a certain error and then say detail, then say the status, the error status on that path, and then redirect you to say, give you a redirect to MDN docs for you to read the status. What the status means. We don't have that, because the backend should be able to return a sensible JSON response to you, so that you can know like what's the issue and take the necessary action. So that's why we are handling all this. So first we'll raise, so that if an error has been raised, then it will jump here. Okay. We expect it to be of status, HTTP status error. So that can be of status 400, 500, the server error, so that we know what's going on. Okay. Now once we are here, we also do another try. The reason we are doing another try, if in case your server returns an HTTP returns a text, okay, some might return HTML text instead of JSON, so we want to be able to capture them. Yeah, so that's why we are doing this, but we'll be able to know by always, we'll be able to know like what's the error status. Yeah. So here we'll say detail will be error dot response. Okay, error dot response dot JSON like that. Okay, so here we know, but if it fails, so this one can be exception or value error if we are not able to decode. Yeah, so we need to be that one to be that. Yeah, so we'll just raise we just say another detail. So we just say detail equals to e.response.text. So text is a property, this is a method, a function or a method of the JSON class. Yeah. So this property we don't need to call it because it's just a property. We just do that. So here we just do HTTP exception, pass in the detail as the detail, status code as the status code. I think that now makes sense. Status code as the status code. Yes, so this is it. So this is for our factory client. Then we now proceed to creating our main client that will be now responsible for inheriting from this and also injecting the necessary information to this. So for just a recap, we pass in the headers, we pass in the data, a JSON empty dictionary, and also the token. And then here we are initializing those ones. Yeah, because this is just any base, we just have the base, the required base information, just placeholders that will be populated in the next. So we come here and then we do main.py, main.py like that. So once we're in main, we'll import from .factory import auth service that, and then from FastAPI, this is our name.config.settings. I need to import get settings, dependencies, and also the settings, the object. Yeah, so I'll just explain why I've imported those one. You'll see how I will be doing that. So I'll give it a class name of auth service client, auth service client. So this will take will inherit from auth service factory like that, and then we'll do dot init from that, and then what we want, this one we want it just to take settings dot, which is of type settings like that, and then for this one we now say equals URL equals settings, it will be the settings, okay, it will be the settings dot the auth service, this one, and also the token URL now will be the settings dot auth token URL, this one. Yeah, yes, so this is it. Now you can see in this one, now we've been able to populate this one. Yeah, so the reason we're doing the population is that once we've injected this one, since we were .env file, the developer using this package, then they won't have to worry about handling this one. So you just need to point your dependencies where. Yes, so that one, that's why we are giving it just typing to be able to know this one. It's not a must we pass this one, but if we pass this one when we'll be calling this one, then still it will work again. But now we just need to pass it here for typing issues. Yes, so once we are here, now we need to implement the actual function that will be used. So define, we'll do async define. In this case, we'll say validate user client like that. This one we expect it to take just token is of type string. Yeah, like that. So once we have that like that, something okay, we don't know what the data, we don't know the data here, so just do any. So from typing I need to import any, just like that. So because we don't know here, so from here I'll now do try, just in case of anything goes wrong, and then now I can just say response equals to await self.post. So in this post I just expect to pass headers. I just say headers equals to authorization, because this user need to be authorized. Authorization, yeah. So we say bearer. By default we are expecting you are using bearer as your scheme. That's just an assumption, but this thing might take so as well, because like this is a package I'm building for a system we are building which has got a lot of FastAPI applications, and then they need also to communicate with certain the Django service to be able to capture information. So we know, because we're implementing lots of event system, notification system, we need to know like who is accepting which service, and then when we are doing those queuing and stuff, we know like whose information is that. So that's why this package will be able to bridge that gap. Yeah, so this is something that we'll be using. Yeah, yes. So you can see we are doing authorization, and this one, whenever a person calls either of the FastAPI services, they must be authorized. So that's why we are passing the header authorization, and then the bearer token, we're using JWT, and then that is how it works. Yeah. So in that case, now something also we need to know, because now we capture user object, we need to set that user here. So let's say in this user will be of type dictionary, user will be of type dictionary or of type none, or you can do optional. Yeah? By default it's none. So if we have an error here, we just say self.user is none, so like that, and then here we just say our data is equal to response.json. Yeah, and then assign this, so self.user equals to data, and then now we can return that data. Yeah? Yes, just like that, and then here we raise HTTP exception. So I need to bring that, just import it from here. So from FastAPI exception import FastAPI, HTTP exception, just like that. So probably maybe server might be off, the authentication server might be off. Yeah, so you just want to avoid those things. So details STRE and status we'll say 4.1, just like that. So we have this here. So this is it, guys. So for that, now about this, now this thing we'll use it as an injection dependency injection that will now pass to another function that will be able to run on the client, that will you as a developer will import. Yeah. So what I'll do here, I'll just now create this. Yeah. So I'll create it as a method, although this is not necessary here. From here we're just done our tutorial. Yeah. So from here I'll just say get service client. Yeah. So say get service client. This get service client expect to take in settings, which is of type settings, not that settings, and then it's a dependency yeah, of get settings dep, this one. Yeah, and then I expect this one to return the auth service client, that one. So we return auth service client, and then passing the settings. Now you can see why we initialize this one in the settings. So we know we are capturing it here, we are getting it here, and then with this one our package will not. Okay? Installing this our package will not run the settings so that it starts configuring the environment without the main application running. So the application will call it, and then we'll only look at the environment whenever it's being used, so that if you install it, it doesn't have to affect your application here. Yes, guys. So this is it, and yes. So just a recap: we built the factory, and then we have the main. Yes. So from here now, next we'll continue to building our dependency, and then with that we'll just have a simple test, and we'll be done and start deployment. So thank you guys, and always remember to subscribe, share, comment, and like. So if in case of any question, comment or anything, just comment down below. Thank you guys. Until next time.